Dimension W, Episode 5, The Wind of Africa. I think this was actually a pretty interesting episode where we get to see a lot of Kiyoma's backstory. And clearly the way that it ends is leading into the next episode, which I've seen already. I mentioned this before that. I mentioned like in the first two reviews I did. I made a mistake and saw episode 7 first. So I saw the flashback and everything first. But I thought this was pretty cool, leading into the flashbacks and talking about Kiyoma as a character and him going to this grave, and we realize, who, kind of a big part of his backstory, which was like all these different flashes and stuff, and then, we get the image of this dead body and things like that. So it was someone that he lost that was very important, who was, and I obviously don't want to spoil like specifics, but they say there's certain dialogue in this where they mention exactly how close they were. And I thought that was very cool, and I thought it was interesting. And we meet Kiyoma's sister, who has the last name as the grave that he goes to, so it's not his actual sister. But I thought it was really cool, and it shows they've kept a connection after, however, this girl died. They've kept this, important connection because they were very close, and so it shows that they were, basically family in general. But I like this episode for what it did, where it kind of hinted towards the backstory to come. And I love the way that they ended it, where it does end where we see the girl, and this girl is actually the girl in the opening during that scene where it's like him and a girl standing and there's water, and then they walk towards each other in the reflection. That's who that is. So I thought it was really cool that they showed that. An interesting possibility that they brought up, which I didn't know because I watched the wrong episode first, is they did a callback to the last two episodes where they had the idea of having, an alternate dimension where these two things happen at the same time. And he kind of said the opposite of what I thought he was going to say, because I thought it was going to be, if there's a possibility for things to continue, then I'm going to find a number. I'm going to get a number and I'm going to find a way to make it work. But he was like, if there's a possibility, then I have to move on. I was like, oh, that's like the exact opposite of what I thought he was about to say. But I don't know, they might bring up the possibility again. And this prince who gets introduced in this episode, apparently he wants everyone to go to this Easter Island where the crazy war happened, which, of course, like, kind of really messed with Kiyoma, because, of course, he gets all this information kind of at once. It's like, oh, I have to go back to the island where I had this crazy war at, where I don't really remember anything, just giant spikes and being wounded and craziness. So he's going to have to go back there. Plus, the boy that he's been hanging out this whole episode was actually a very powerful robot. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know exactly what that means. And they mentioned that this prince is like, the CEO. I guess he's not a prince. I don't believe they actually called him prince, but just the way they act is like he's a prince, I guess, because he's like the young hot guy. Like when he showed up, all the girls were just like swooning all over him and stuff. And which apparently he hates. He feels like, being so open about it is wrong. And then I don't know what he did to the woman. He said something and I guess she had an orgasm. I don't know. But it was just interesting. He's like, I'm going to start a war to avoid war, and he was letting the woman know, Claire, which I don't believe they said her first name, so I'll try to remember that her name's Claire, which shouldn't be too hard because of Resident Evil and I love that, so I might be able to remember her name from now on. But he's basically going to start a war. He sent out a letter just to collectors in general, like, if you're strong enough, then go ahead. So looking forward to that for sure, seeing a bunch of people come together. We get to see the loser again in this episode, and I swear I do not understand what is going on with his character and his subordinates. I'm assuming that that's the same girl from before with the blonde hair, but she has black hair now, and it makes me wonder if that boy was even a boy, if that was just like a visual thing or something fake. I truly do not understand what is going on with that guy, because every time it's like, okay, so he's with this boy. Last time he was with, the girl with blonde hair. So it's like, alright, maybe he just adopted 2 kids. Maybe he's, helping them kind of grow up as collectors or whatever. And then he's underwater doing something, and she's in like a weird submarine, and it's like, oh, this is a girl with black hair. And they all call him Papa. So that's why I'm trying to figure out, was it ever a different person, or can is just like one person that keeps changing their image. And I think that's why they keep doing it. I think that's the point, is to make us wonder what the F is going on with this other character because they all say Papa, but they all look totally different from each other. So I'm like, I don't know what's happening with that guy. But I'm assuming there's going to be some weird answer to it as to why this person, whoever he's working with, keeps switching like that. And I guess it's a part of just hiding in plain sight just in case. But it's still super confusing. At this point, it's confusing because I don't know if that's true or not. It's just, it was a boy, and then it was a girl with blonde hair, and now it's a girl with black hair. And, the hair thing is totally easy to switch. It's just from blonde to black. You can dye your hair and do that in like a day. But going from male to female, that's a bit different. So I don't know if it's 3 separate people or just 2 people and the girl is with him most of the time, or if it's just one person and they continually switch their disguise every single mission just in case they get busted, so they can't possibly be related to the loser before. And you would kind of assume what I'm assuming, where it's like, oh, he just has a group of people that he works with and it's not this one specific person, and that way if they escape, that's probably not what they look like anyway. So that could be it. Like I said, I'm just guessing because it's just confusing me every time he shows up and it's like, oh, totally different person again. I don't know what that means. So I'm sure we'll get an answer to whatever is going on with that. But it just really caught my attention. Like, okay, I thought it would be the girl again because I believe she spoke before they actually showed her. So I was like, oh, it's the girl again. And then they showed a girl and she has black hair and like a totally different outfit. Granted, she probably wouldn't wear like the weird bat maid outfit that she had on anyway. But the whole black hair thing was just a huge difference. And maybe that was just a complete disguise. And maybe that's what she really looks like. Who knows? But, they took the time to show that he was in this episode. Once again, showing how important of a character he really is. And I think he might end up being the main antagonist later, in the series. Like, he and Kiyoma are going to really come up against each other because the guy mentions in this episode, like, I only need one more number and it'll be complete. Whatever that means, some device to get his revenge is going to be finished. So I'm really looking forward to whatever that is. They might save that towards like the end of the season or something like that, but I don't know. Whatever it is, he's close to his revenge, and I really feel like he's going to be like the nemesis to Kiyoma once he gets to where he needs to be, and Kiyoma's going to try to stop him. But looking forward to that. I really like the fact that we got to meet Kiyoma's sister. I thought that was very cool. Once again, having seen episode 7, I was wondering if she would even show up before the 7th episode, and she does. So that was pretty interesting to see where she is in life and how things have been. And I believe she mentioned it's been 5 or 8 years, something like that. So it's been a while since Kiyoma lost, this girl that he was in love with. But I'm excited to, kind of go over the backstory again, because when I first saw it, I thought it was the first episode, so it was just like, oh, it's sad, seeing that somebody died. But I wasn't really attached to the character of Kiyoma at the time. I thought he was super cool, but I wasn't exactly attached to him. And now I'm like, I hope this doesn't make me super sad, because I understand, like, I really get his character now compared to when I first saw it. But I certainly enjoyed this one. They are certainly leading up to something really crazy with all these, with the idea of collectors just going to this island, and whatever is going on with the young boy that Kiyoma met, who's a robot as well. And so they used him kind of as a test in this episode where he takes on number 4, which I totally thought was a girl, but in the dialogue they mentioned that it was a male robot, which totally surprised me, because I mean that's anime, so I guess that's no surprise. I could be confused from time to time, but I really thought that was a girl. It just looked like a girl to me, but apparently it's a male robot, so that kind of blew my mind. But they used the boy as like this test, and I don't know why they couldn't just send the letter, but I guess it's just as a show of strength, like, this robot's better than your robot, which is military grade, which is very interesting. So that says a lot as to this new form of robot, I guess. So I don't know what role he's going to be playing throughout this weird race that the guy has set up or anything, or if that was basically it, because he mentions that the kid's basically a pawn. So I don't know if this was like his. I'm assuming this wasn't his one role as a pawn. There has to be some other stuff that he's going to end up doing. But I'm kind of looking forward to getting to see that, because that's me really curious. And he's a lot like Mira because clearly he has emotions, and it's like, oh, he likes this, and he likes that. And, he sees Kiyoma, and of course he thinks he's a samurai, which I thought was really awesome because it's like, okay, they at least acknowledge the fact that he dressed exactly like a samurai would. So I love the fact that he ran up to him and he thought Kiyoma was like a samurai, because I was like, when I first saw it, I was like, he dressed exactly like a samurai. He's got the little ponytail and everything. So I like the fact that the kid thought he was a samurai when he first showed up. So I don't know what role he's going to be playing in these next couple episodes, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. And it would suck if Kiyoma had to fight against him, but if he's got to survive, then that's what he's going to do. So very curious to see how that's going to play out. We have some very interesting stuff with the whole letter sent out to collectors and this open invitation to go to this island, which who knows what's going to happen. I mean, basically, numbers went off on an island, and then we have our main character who lost his memory because that happened, during a battle. So who knows what we can expect there. It changed the landscape, of the entire island. It's, I believe they mentioned it's like basically illegal to go there, or like it's not advised or something like that. The guy mentioned, like, basically, people don't go there. So that's where we're gonna go, and it's gonna be pretty crazy. And who knows what he's looking for on this island. It could be the number, but I feel like he'd know, kind of like Loser knows. If that guy can figure out, then I'm pretty sure the COO of like another big company can tell where some other numbers are. So I'm pretty sure it's not just get the number off this island. It's got to be something else. There's got to be something much bigger there than just find me a number. I feel like there just has to be, because there's so many numbers. There's like almost 200 numbers. He can't only know about the one on the island. That just wouldn't make sense. So there's something going on there. I don't know what, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm definitely looking forward to going back through episode 7. Like I said, now that I know the characters and stuff. So I'll probably that'll be an interesting review, because I'll definitely mention how I felt when I first watched it, and now realizing that it's the 7th episode and not the premiere. It'll be interesting going back through it and catching certain things that I didn't really kind of take to heart the very first time. So looking forward to that. But this is definitely a fun episode. Definitely a good emotional lead-in to Kiyoma's backstory and how he met this girl that sadly he lost. So looking forward to that for sure. Very curious about this race, or whatever it is. I mean, he said it's a race of sorts, but it's something that he wants someone to find something for him, obviously. So looking forward to that. But this is definitely a fun episode. Really good emotional tie-in. Nice little twist with the kid being a robot, which was obvious. I mean, when he smashed the thing with the fish, it was like, oh, obviously, he's a robot. So that was interesting. We had actually a really awesome scene, which I love this part. But when the boy was being taken away, and Kiyoma gave him the fan, and he throws it to him, and the woman tries to catch it, and it goes like right under her arm, and it like blew her mind that it did that, and she's like, oh crap. It was really awesome that he did it. It was like, it shows, like, he kind of gave himself away a little bit, like this guy has like some really weird skills. And I love that, because she was just like, oh, like, don't send stuff to the young boy, and it's like, oh, like, it went right past me. And I just love that scene. It was kind of cool. And also thought it was really, really funny, but they had the giant, like, it looked like a bug thing at first, but then it folded up and it was like a flying barrel. And I just thought that was the funniest looking design for anything that could fly, because it folds all in, and I was like, they made a giant barrel, and then some blades came out the top and it just started flying. I was like, that's a weird design. But I wanted to mention that because it really caught my attention, because it was like this cool mech bug looking thing at first, and then it basically stood up and was just like, it's like a barrel full of whiskey or something. It was just funny to me. But I really liked that scene because it was cool. It was just like another cool moment from his character where he, like, just impossible stuff where it's just flying perfectly straight and then it just dips right under her hand, and it was just really funny. But certainly enjoyed this episode. Looking forward to the next one. But of course, I want to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And with them going to Easter Island, I'm curious why they call it that, but with them going back to this island that is basically the beginning of, Kiyoma kind of losing his memory and, being titled as one of the beasts of Grendel who survived whatever madness went down there, which he can't even remember. what do you guys think is going to come of that? Like, I'm sure he's going to get some answers. I know, obviously, if he gets answers, we're going to be getting answers. But he also has to deal with whoever's going to be showing up. If this is an open invitation to collectors, that's going to be a bunch of people. I mean, that could be a ton of people if they wanted it to be. I know how many there are, but I'm obviously keeping it vague. But it could be like, almost an unlimited amount. It obviously won't be like that many people, but it would be some stiff competition. No matter who shows up, it's going to be some competition. We don't really know what they're looking for. I have no clue what this guy wants. As the CEO, it's interesting that he's deciding, the words "I want to start a war to avoid war" says a lot, and he's sending people to this island. So that to me says there's got to be more than just the numbers there. But if numbers are there, then it's going to be crazy. I mean, seemingly it's crazy as is, but considering its numbers have an infinite resource from Dimension W, I'm assuming that means that the island could technically change if there are people actually on it to kind of disrupt whatever's happening there. I mean, it seems like nothing that's currently happening. It seems like it's just an island at this point that's changed, but we don't really know. No one's on the island. There could be life on there. Like, we don't really know. It's pretty weird. But I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there, because they're going to this island. We're going to get some really interesting answers, and I can't wait to see how all that plays out. And Kiyoma, maybe going after whatever's there and trying to beat out whoever decides to, kind of enter this little race that the guys put on. So looking forward to that. But like I said, I definitely want to know what you guys thought about this episode, and I definitely want to know what you guys are looking forward to in the next episode as far as Kiyoma's backstory. What do you guys think is going to happen if you haven't seen the episode already, like I have? How you think it's going to go specifically? I mean, we all know it's going to be sad and someone dies, but how do you guys think it's going to go? What other elements do you guys think they're going to tell us about his backstory, stuff like that? So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.